Joining in today, and this is Vasudev. So I work as a machine learning engineer, and I'm from India. So today we would discuss the conversational AI landscape and how exactly it is changing rapidly, and what are the features and how exactly it can impact the business. So right from building one to making an impact uh, directly to the business. So that's what we would discuss today. So please let me know if you have any problem in hearing me or following my presentation. So this is the agenda for today. A lot about chatbots and the conversational interfaces as well, and we have conversational components, integrations, and models which we use. So when we say conversational AI, we have multiple uh, providers which actually provide a high-level conversational mediums. Let's say we have Dialogflow or Amazon's own conversational AI platform and Microsoft Azure's conversational AI platform. But underlying infrastructure or underlying models which they use are on the similar lines. So they are not the same or they are different, but the methodology or the theme which they follow are same. So we'll see how exactly a conversational AI chatbot or uh, a particular conversation can be made with the machine effectively and how it can make a difference. So we all have used chatbots at some point in our recent years, right? So be it on the website or be it on a Google Assistant, at the end, most of the times, or not exactly most of the times, but a few times it used to say that I did not understand, or I do not know this. So these kind of situations are the bottlenecks or deadlock situations where chatbots uh, usage quotient would be very less. And in order to increase that, the knowledge base of the chatbot should be very complex. And also the network or the graph which we build between the sentences or between the words needs to be very high. So following that, just take an example. A real estate agent company has built a particular chatbot, and I'm currently actually messaging that chatbot to understand few details. So how exactly it works? So first thing, the context. So when we say context, the main aim or the main theme of the entire chatbot. Let's say this chatbot is built for the real estate purpose. So everything which would go under this particular chat would be related to that. Let's say if I build something for a healthcare or something for a car service shop. So the context is predefinedly set. It can't be changed once we build the entire chatbot. So coming back, let's say intent. So what exactly intent is? I'm looking for a some particular house at some area between some range. So this is called an intent, wherein from this particular sentence we would pick few things which are actually related and converted into a fulfilled like from when a conversational AI bot actually does some thinking behind the scenes, it would actually call some external API or call some external endpoint, which actually gives the response. So now let's say I have a city name and also what is my requirement and the price range. So now what says it's a prompt. So in order to call a particular API to get the response, it needs some more details. So let's say I said to the bot that I need a particular house within this range, right? So after that, it doesn't understand it completely. It needs some more information. So that's something which we know as prompt. So it's asking, are there any other features? So now let's say uh, user says, some more information about that particular his requirement. Now, what exactly it does, whatever the intent from the intent, it takes actually entities. So we'll discuss that in the upcoming slides. So it took two wet and the location name and also the price range and any special characteristics of it. So now once we get that, it actually executed some background business logic and gave the response that it found out 39 homes. So now this execution part is the key. So in the conversational AI hierarchy, we can assume that the first part is understanding what the user says, And the next part is converting what exactly the user is saying to a machine understandable format. And after that, executing that to give the exact results. So coming back, next we have so now what exactly bot says. So generally, give me your email. I'll be sending the listings. So every bot or every particular company who is into the digital marketing or who wants the customer data, what exactly they do? They actually collect emails or the cold email marketing or some email campaigns. So at this point, whatever the criteria this bot has been designed for is kind of met because it got the end result, which is the particular example email. So the goal has been met. So for example, if we want to go through end-to-end uh, chatbot conversation, so some things which we are want to keep in mind is first the context. So what exactly a context is, and the next is intent. So what is the user is being asked, and then the prompt, what needs to reply. So in order to reply this, it needs to understand the context first. So that is the reason nowadays the context aware conversational AI bots has higher precedence over the normal rule engine bots. So going ahead, so the conclusion. So this is the closing statement of the end-to-end conversation which has happened. So what are the common scenarios which may become potential bottlenecks in the particular conversational AI bot development are? So first, it doesn't understand the request itself. Let's say if the user says something which is out of scope of a particular conversational AI bot, then it doesn't understand that. So everything, all the entire conversation would be stopping abruptly. So that is something which needs to be taken care. And the wrong interpretation of a request. So we'll see that examples. So let's say if I want to hire a car, but it actually interprets as something else, then that's the again here comes the context. So the context is very important. So no results found if the end backend knowledge base is not present or the backend system is not very like the data is not present, then it says no results found. Then let's say if we have no track of past conversations. So if we say a particular user wants to get his data or wants to do a same job again and again over the weeks, now we want to track that particular user. So we need to keep track of their data and also no knowledge of user's identity. It's the same again. And communication with existing systems. So oftentimes the conversational AI assistants or agents or bots are built on top of the existing systems. So now they are siloed out without actually integrating with those existing systems, which may cause into the errors. So those things which also need to be taken care. So let's say if I want to, like if a user requests to a conversational AI bot, let's assume we have a bus booking system and I want to automate it using the conversational AI. What exactly I would do? I would actually talk to my conversational agent, wherein I would just say that book a ticket for me. Now, let's say if that particular conversational AI agent need to call the bus booking system on the backend and then fulfill my request and get the response. Let's say if we siloed out that particular conversational AI agent not to communicate with the existing systems or customer service systems, then there is no actual significance of that system. So that is the main reason, like one more bottleneck which might cause. So lacking proper human escalation matrix. So this is something which we need to be mindful of in the customer service area or in the customer care domain. Wherein if I want to, let's say I have a chatbot in my app and a particular company replaced some human agents, some ratio of human agents, so that some basic request can be taken by the agent. So in that case, what happens is, let's say 50 requests comes to the agent, and out of it, which 20 requests are targeted and got closed, but the other request actually needs to go to the human agent. So in that particular hierarchy needs to be maintained. So this comes with some Google Cloud services, which we go to discuss in the next few minutes. So right from back in 1994 or 1990s, where the first bot was built, mainly the common approaches to build the the conversational AI agents or the chatbots, which we used to call back in 2010s or 2000s, are rule-based bots. So rule-based bots are nothing but, if you are from a programming background, you might have known if-else statements. So that's what the rule-based bots are. Like, we have a switch case, wherever it matches, it gives that reply, and it does not have scope out of it, outside those switch cases. So that's the rule-based bots. And slot filling and intent classification, we'll see each one of them separately, how exactly it looks and works. So let's say rule-based bots. I will start here and I will give an input phrase wherein it says take a call, receive call, and join call. Let's assume if my input phrase matches any one of these, I would perform an action. Let's say if my input phrase is not out of these three, then it's a simple stop. That means this chatbot does not have that scope of awareness where my input phrase is. So that's the main difference. So these bots are nowadays not existent, because nowadays, as the field of conversational AI is evolving, these bots are something which are actually implicit within, and we need not do any heavy lifting to build these such kind of conversational flows. And this is not a best practice in these days, because the knowledge which this gets is limited and confined to the conditions which we write. So let's say slot filling and intent. So generally, let's say we talk to Alexa or Google Assistant. So let's say in this case, Alexa. So Alexa, tell plan my trip, I need a vacation. So here what exactly we are doing, so the Alexa is the wake word. So generally it can be customized, but by default it's a wake word. And tell or launch or some other word is nothing but the launch word. And plan my trip is the particular agent name. So in Alexa, we generally write apps. The apps which are not directly given by the Alexa implicitly are the external apps which are user defined. Let's say a particular Walmart writes its own invocation or its own agent, then it has some invocation names. In such a way, the plan my trip is one of the agent. And the end goal which I need is I need a vacation. And this is the user input. Now Alexa might have replied something, and then the user has replied, I would like to take a trip next Friday. So from this, what exactly we need to get into is next Friday. So from the date of today, what exactly the date of next Friday? That's somewhere around 19th November 21. So that value is taken, and then plan my trip intent. So this is nothing but we are telling to the backend system that this is something which you need to execute to fulfill the request which is given by the user. So this is slot filling and intent. So at this point of the conversational AI agents as well, this is used to categorize and filter the user specific utterances and entities. So next comes the generative models. So most of us might be following the GPT-3 model and other models which actually making a difference in the NLP and NLU space. So one such model, probably the starting point wherein it has changed the natural language understanding is LSTM. So this is an LSTM model wherein, let's say, automatic smart reply emails. So whenever we actually email in our own Gmail app or inbox app, it actually shows some suggestions. For that matter, in any LinkedIn app or LinkedIn messaging. So are you free tomorrow? So for this particular question, it gives me an auto reply suggestion. Yes, what's up? So here everything works as an encoder and decoder. And if we want to deep dive into it, we can do it separately. But at this point, generative models are also used to actually act as a Q&A and small talk agents. So we'll see how exactly these entire things are combined to form an end-to-end product by all the major cloud providers. So next is what exactly is a conversational experience. So till now, we have seen how exactly a conversational flow works and what are the methods which we use to follow to actually build a conversational chatbot. And next comes the conversational experience, how exactly it looks and what makes it different from a conventional chatbot or the conventional Q&A bot. So the main theme of the entire conversational experience is understanding. So particular opposite machine or agent of whomsoever is there, we know that it would not be a human, it would be a machine. And that machine needs to understand the context, understand the intent of the opposite user, and also understand the emotion in that text. So let's say if I'm a particular customer and I did not like the service of the customer, and I'm trying to talk to that agent. So that agent is an automatic agent. So in that case, how exactly it needs to reply? So I'm kind of having a heated argument and typed a few sentences and gave a bad rating. So that emotion also needs to be captured by the conversational agents. So that level of personalization should be there in the conversation layer. So let's say whatever the interface which we build, which does not give any static response or any like decision tree kind of responses where if this happens, this needs to be happened. If a particular case happens, the other needs to happen. If this is not the case, then generally we say it as conversational experience. So coming back, so how exactly it looks like? So first level is natural language understanding, the natural language processing, then automatic speech recognition, and text to speech. So generally, let's say if a particular user, actually inputs a sentence or says a sentence to a particular conversational agent, what exactly it does? First is we'll also see how exactly it works. In the case of Google Cloud environment, I have some demos as well. So wherein the first step is automatic speech recognition. So whenever I say something to the conversational agent, it actually recognizes my speech and then converts it into text to speech, and then it performs some basic NLP techniques wherein named entity recognition and parts of speech and dependency parsing, and then understands like what exactly the user says. So for the emotions, where what exactly the user is saying, we have sentiment analysis, and if there are any basic questions, we have Q&A. So next, so how exactly a conversational AI agent looks like? It comprises of all the ML components, like natural language understanding and intent, speech to text and text to speech. So we'll see where are these 4 components are necessary to be there. Yeah. So now we are moving into the cloud-specific conversational AI platform, wherein let's say we want to build our own conversational AI agents. So then Google Cloud provides Dialogflow CX and Dialogflow ES. So Dialogflow ES was a conventional builder, but back in like last Google Next, they have launched CX as well. So we'll see brief examples on this, how exactly it looks. And I'll also show a demo on Dialogflow ES. So let's say now we come to a real world scenario wherein at this point in time we have multi-channel bots. And multi-channel means I can chat with a particular app on web directly. I can chat via social media like Facebook Messenger, or in the recent times from past couple of years we are also seeing the WhatsApp chatbots. And also we have Google Assistant in our mobile or in the form of Google Home or any other hardware devices. And also we have IoT devices like car and TV, smart TVs, smart cars, and connected cars. All these are some of the mediums from where the user can connect. And also we have phone calls. So generally phone calls in the previously it used to be like we need to select, like at least back in India we have something called IVR system wherein we need to select 1 or 2 or 3 options, then it follows on. It is a set of hierarchy which they follow, and then it would be rewriting or rerouting us to a target user or target system. So now that has also been changed. How exactly it looks? So first thing is we need integration and intent matching. So whatever the user says, like the input can be from any channel. We can't limit the number of channels which the user can give an input from. So the integration or intent matching. So we need to match the intent, what exactly the user is saying. And then we have NLU, understand what exactly that intent is. and then fulfill it. So now let's assume a company has launched its own its own conversational agent in the English language. Now it goes to some other country and wants to launch it in their local language. Now that conversational agent also needs multi-language support. So that also we need to have in place. And then it also thinks about the context as we have discussed and model training. So let's say in a day I get 10K user requests. Now if the same request comes from tomorrow, my agent needs to be trained on the previous day 10K requests. So this also needs to be managed, and the analytics on top of it, how many sessions are there, and let's say we have 10 conversations that needs to be happened in each session. How many conversations are actually happening? So that particular part is also needs to be there. So once, let's say, coming back to my bus booking system example, wherein I want to book a bus at the end. It understands the time or the source and destination, and it understands my preference. Now, the conversational agent alone would not have the entire control over getting the response back. It needs to communicate with an external infrastructure or external APIs which responses it the list of buses or list of results. So that results again needs to be converted and shown for the user or convert it into text to speech. So in order to fulfill that, we need to have the knowledge base and the external APIs which needs to be connected, and the right platform infrastructure and microservices. So let's assume if I want to build a production grade ready usable conversational agent, I need to think of all this, right? But if I move to a cloud provider, any cloud provider for that matter, so in the Google Cloud, we have two conversational AI builders, wherein one is the Essentials and one is the CX. So all the things, all the 10 things which I have mentioned here are taken care by ES. Of course, we need to do some work on top of it, but all the other things are handled internally, right? From the LSTM or deep learning models or NLU, it is directly identified there. So we just need to write our conversational flow, and then everything is kind of taken care. However, we need to keep track of the history and training time and some configurations. So this is again taken from one of the Google Quick Labs, wherein let's say this is the invocation statement. Okay, Google talk to help desk support. So now what exactly it does? So now the Google Assistant. So here we have a Dialogflow agent. So Dialogflow agent only understands whatever we say in the form of text. Let's say my Dialogflow agent is only capable to do that. So what happens is whatever the speech which has been given, it is converted into text, and on top of that, natural language understanding would be applied, and on top of that, intents and entities would be extracted from that, and then the same would be sent back. So let's say talk to help desk support. The first response which Google Assistant gives is here's the help desk support. Now what happens is, let's say if I ask something, I want to reset my password. Right away, a physical human or a particular human agent may not be necessary, because I can share some links or I can give some information or steps of information which I can actually serve the user right away. But let's say if the user wants to connect to the agent, then at that point in time, the conversational AI agent would be sending it to the real human agent. So in order to achieve that, we have one more product recently launched by the Google Cloud in Cloud Next, that is known as Contact Center AI. So we'll also see that how exactly it works. But from this, I want you to understand how exactly the workflow is and what are the knowledge bases. So this is the Google data store, which saves all the all the possible fulfillment details. Like it's our database. So coming back to the contact center AI. So let's say in the level 1, I want to directly ask my virtual agent what exactly is, like let's say how exactly I need to reset my password, right? If it knows, it directly tells us. If it doesn't, it would directly navigate to the human agent. So what exactly happening here is we are not losing a customer or not uh, like losing a customer by not serving them. We are serving their request at the same time. We are reducing the um, uh, impact on the human agents. So let's say if a company wants to maintain the entire 100 human agents, but they can't do so due to some budget issues or some other challenges. Now a virtual agent can act as a medium to send all the requests to the human agent. So that's what the contact center AI is. So the general use cases, the chatbots are everywhere and the conversational AI is everywhere, because that's something which we would see growing in upcoming years. So these are some of the use cases which I thought of, but are not limited to, of course, which are customer service and e-commerce. So back in India, we have a few food delivery apps like Zomato and Swiggy, which actively uses this for the customer service, and it first gives it to its own virtual agent and then transfers if needed to the human agent. So that's what they do. And also we have home appliances like smart bulbs or smart microwaves or smart TVs, whatever for that matter. Entire thing is again controlled by the conversational AIs. And also connecting business with its own organization. Let's say if I'm an employee and I want to connect, know some like how many leaves I have. So let's say I work in a company X and I want to know how many leaves I can take. Right now, I need to go through some central system and do some 10 clicks or 5 clicks, and then I would say, whoa, how many leaves I can take in a particular year. So assume if I drop a message to the conversational AI agent and I get the response back. So that's how feasible it makes the entire fulfillment of how exactly a request can be served. So I'll probably quickly show a demo. So this is how a conversational
Okay, here's the test version of Global Child Prodigy Awards.
Have queries? Please say hello to continue. Greetings, this is Daisy from Global Child Prodigy Awards.
This is something which
your
is
personal
already
virtual assistant,
there in
smiley
place.
smiling face. May I know your name?
Let's say I type my name. So we have already created an entity which matches with the name.
Hello,
so
Vasudev. Please
that is
enter your
asking
email.
what exactly my name is and what is my email. So this is the flow again. So let's say this is one app which we have created. At the same time, we also know that this can be integrated in the multiple channels. So it's like build once and integrate multiple times. So whatever the channels we have. In the same way, we have integrated with other channel. So let's say it says the same thing, but on a different medium. So that's the flexibility actually it gives. So if you want me to go through the entities or intents in the short of time, so here these are the intents, and we also have entities. So the final goal is to launch this app. So this Global Child Prodigy Awards is also available in the Google Actions Marketplace. So let's say if a developer wants to build an agent and wants to launch it onto the Actions Marketplace, he can directly do that without, it needs to undergo some testing and some validation from the Google team as well, but it's right away process. Here we are testing it on the smart device and we can display it in multiple phones and test it out directly here. So coming back, so that's all I had for today. So any questions or any other queries which you have? So these are the links which you can kickstart your conversational AI journey, wherein these are for beginners, and the first link is wherein we can even explore the entire documentation. So I can share this particular PPT with the organizers. They can upload in the drive. So any questions? I guess we are on time. Thank you. Thanks for having me.